Welcome back, readers, to Reading Workshop. We're up to our 8th mini lesson in our unit for building a reading life. So far, all of you have learned and practiced retelling, visualizing in your mind, making a movie, hurdling those hard, difficult words to read, and using the author's clues that they leave for us to get those hard words. Good job so far. All of your teachers are very proud of you. Today, we're going to teach you that authors sometimes use figurative language that can be confusing and that readers need to use those contextual clues to make sense of these figures of speech. So, what is figurative language, right? Figurative language is phrasing that goes beyond just the literal meaning of words to get a message or a point across. Writers create figurative language through figures of speech, such as a simile. And an example of a simile is the house is as clean as a whistle. Similes use like or as to compare. A metaphor is another figurative language type. A metaphor compares without using like or as. Here's an example. The snow is a white blanket. Still compares it, it just doesn't use like or as. Personification makes any object a living thing that's able to talk and do what humans do. For example, the tree said to the mouse, whatever the tree said. But that is an object that does not talk like humans do. So therefore, it personifies any object. The pen said to the desk, or the pen felt sad. That's personification. Literary devices are different things that authors use to heighten imagery, which means they want you to really get a nice picture in your mind of what's happening, what it sounds like, what it feels like. So they'll use alliteration sometimes, they'll use onomatopoeia sometimes, which gives you the sound effect, what that sounded like. So these are the different types of figurative language authors use. They really want their readers to feel like they're inside of that story, visualizing, imagining, hearing things, feeling things, and really understanding what's happening in the story. Those are clues the authors give us. They want us to use the gist of what's happening to figure out what that figurative language means. They might sometimes put the opposite word there of the figurative language, which is an antonym. You can use that, a synonym, or they might explain the figurative language. Sometimes they do. So this is our next strategy that we're learning. We're working out figurative language phrases. It happens anytime you're reading any type of book, you will see figurative language. Okay, are you ready? Watch as I read this part of Indian Shoes. We're reading the short story Night Fishing. So look at this part and notice how I use the clues that the author leaves to help me figure out this figurative language that's used. Bring a ring-a-ling. The alarm jangled in the darkness, but Ray couldn't jangle his bones for it. Sleep knitted his eyelids, and a Cherokee 7 clans quilt wrapped him cozy and safe. Okay, so I'm definitely going to use the gist of what's happening in Night Fishing. We just started it, but I can see there's an alarm going off. So that bring-a-ling-a-ling must be the sound effect of the alarm. That's onomatopoeia. The author provided us with that figurative language so that we as a reader could hear that sound and really imagine what does that alarm sound like that. Bring-a-ling-a-ling, rattling, okay? So there's what I'm noticing the author gave us for figurative language. Also, I noticed knitting is usually something that turns out to be like this nice heavy quilt or a heavy scarf, hat that was knitted. It's made of these fibers that are really warm and heavy. So sleep is something that you do. Sleep, you have your eyes closed. Your eyelids are not knitted onto your face, right? So it can't be literal. This is figurative speech. This is a metaphor. It doesn't say his sleep felt like or as if it was knitted onto his face. It actually said that sleep knitted his eyelids and a Cherokee 7's clan quilt wrapped him cozy. So he was heavy in this deep, heavy sleep, and it was really hard for him to wake up. So that's figurative language to imagine how much of a comfortable, deep sleep Ray was in. So see how I noticed the clues that the author left? And to really think of the literal meaning, and that will make sense. So it has to be figurative. It's comparing that this type of sleep was this heavy sleep, and that Ray was really comfortable, cozy in this sleep. Okay. All right. So now your turn. Read this passage. I'm also going to read it aloud. Listen for figurative language. What sounds like a metaphor? Does it have onomatopoeia? We're hearing sound effects. Okay. Listen in. You're going to turn and talk afterward. You coming, sleepy bones? Grandpa Half Moon called from the doorway. Too tired, Ray mumbled, breathing deeply to the hum of the air conditioner, promising himself tomorrow night would be different. Then the alarm jangled again. Bring a ring a ring a ling. And Ray's sleepy bones tossed on a pair of cutoffs and a powwow t-shirt. Curiosity had won out. Okay, there's a few pieces of figurative language in this section of night fishing. So now you talk to a partner, family member, anyone that's next to you, and think, what figurative language do you notice here? What does it mean? Remember what I did, and now you try it out. You can pause the video so you have time to think and maybe chat. All right, welcome back. So how did it go? Did you see the figurative language? Yes, that's right. Up here, sleepy bones, Grandpa Half Moon called from the doorway. Our bones literally don't fall asleep and have eyes and go to sleep like we do, right? So it made our bones seem as if they're like personified and given that figurative language, just meaning that Ray was tired. But that's figurative language. So if you thought that, thumbs up. That's definitely not literally. That is figurative. Anywhere else you noticed figurative language? I definitely see bring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling again, which is onomatopoeia. That's figurative language again, giving us the sound effect. Oh, here we go again. Ray's sleepy bones tossed on a pair of cutoffs. His bones won't toss on a pair, right? And they're not literally asleep. Ray is the person, he's asleep. But this is figurative language to show that he was really tired, for us to visualize he was really tired, he was really sleepy. So if you said some of those things or one of those things, good job. This is something we always look at while we're reading and come across it all the time in our reading. And this is what expert readers do. We use those clues to help us figure out, what does this figurative language mean? So we're going to use those context clues, which is like the gist and the author's clues for us. We're going to use our repertoire of strategies to figure out, I'm going to fix that word, figure out what the figurative language means. Every day, this is part of you being a reader that has grit. You're going to study those clues that authors leave to figure out the meaning of the figurative language. And every day, you're going to track your reading to make sure you're reading longer and longer, more and more. Okay. You can use Post-its to write down the figurative language you notice as you read, using the clues the author leaves us. Figurative language is used by authors to create a more descriptive visual for their readers. We could visualize hearing that alarm go off. We could visualize Ray's sleepy bones and how tired and groggy he was getting up. So as readers, it is our job to imagine what it feels like, sounds like, and looks like as if we are in the story. So now it's time to read, readers. As you read today in your quiet reading spot, you're going to think and look for that figurative language and what it could mean. You're going to write it down in the Google Doc that's attached or in your notebook. All right. And remember, persevere through your reading. Readers hurdle those hard words and they push through. Until next time, readers. Bye.